All right, so we got a story from USA Today, and I'm mainly using this story as a springboard to an entire segment, but ultimately we got to talk about Biden's new Title IX changes. It's demonic, it's wrong, it's weird, um, it's unjust, it's misogynist, if you want to use that word as well, and it's bad. Okay, it's real bad. I think these are going to affect around August, right on time for him to be out of office. But you know, interestingly enough, conservatives are really doing a good job, I think, are of putting this forward for people to understand the implications of this bill, or not bill, but these changes to Title IX. And USA Today gives their own angle to it. I don't really care about their angle. I have my own angle on this, and we're gonna talk about it. But I'm gonna use some of the facts from this article. I think they did a pretty good job overall of explaining Biden's actual plans of what he plans to do, because ultimately that exposes the real issues with this new Title IX change. So let's get into it. Right here, this article is written by Kayla Jimenez. Apologize if I said your name wrong. But anyway, this comes from USA Today. The title is "Updated Biden Administration Rules Will Soon Affect Students Across U.S. What to Know." So, um, anyway, let's just look at this. Okay, the Biden administration released a new set of rules this week, overhauling the Trump administration's Title IX rules, which gave more rights to alleged perpetrators of sexual assault and harassment. The new rules also stipulate further protection for LGBTQ plus students, as well as parenting and pregnant students. So this is how they're going to angle it. They're going to angle it as Trump did not have enough protections for, victims of SA or sexual assault, but we're going to say SA for the sake of the time of this video, and I don't feel like saying sexual assault over and over again. So SA, and they're going to frame it as if Biden is protecting these LGBT students from discrimination, right? But I'm going to tell you what it's actually doing. But anyway, they do a good job of summarizing, ultimately, the whole thing, which right here it says, what is Title IX? Title IX is a civil rights law that bans sex discrimination against students, employees, and others at public schools, colleges, and universities that receive federal funding. That's absolutely true. And Title IX is good. It's a good thing that conservatives should totally support, because it ultimately protects women and men from each other. Essentially, there's no sexual discrimination that's allowed based on sex, okay? But this is the key term right here, sex. What is sex? Okay? Who are the sexes? How many sexes are there? And who are these two sexes that, or I guess I kind of spoiled it, but who are these sexes that should not be discriminated against? That's the very key thing, okay? And it's really mostly protecting women, obviously. But anyway, we'll get into this in a second. But let's just get through this article. What were some of the old rules? And they do a good job of explaining it, but they give their own angle to it. You'll see. The media sucks, okay? I think I spent like 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes just going through articles, and I was like, man, all these angles are terrible for this. But I'm sorry, I keep saying that. But anyway, for cases of sexual assault, they stipulated that schools only had to investigate claims that met a certain threshold of sex discrimination and were made through a formal reporting process. Let's stop right there. Very, very simple, and honestly fine. Like, why? Okay, I get it. If you're a victim of SA, you deserve justice. I'm of the belief that rapists and predators should be killed or castrated. I 100% would vote on that tomorrow. Okay, but that's with proper investigation. And some cases, my friends, are just not worth looking into because they're just completely made up. I'll give you an example. The Trump hoax, okay? That dude had nothing to do with that girl, and she got all that money. I forgot her name, but that's how like no one actually believes that he actually did that to her, okay? So another example, Kavanaugh. The only reason they invested that man was because of his stature, okay? It was because of Supreme Court, okay? Other than that, there was zero evidence to suggest that Kavanaugh was guilty. I think This is gonna surprise y'all, but Steven Crowder did a very good job of breaking that whole case down. Go find his old videos on that whole situation. There was zero reason why they should have investigated him. But that points to this. A lot of these situations, and while that's not in the context of Title IX, this is more for universities and college and public schools that receive federal funding. So it would be more for students. Regardless, there are just some cases, my friends, that are just a waste of resources and time. They're not good. They're not worth looking into based on the reporting and based on the circumstances. A lot of times they will not even investigate it because it's not worth investigating. Allegedly, this also raised the bar for proof of sexual misconduct on college campuses. They prohibited the investigations of cases that occurred off campus, which of course makes sense. Only students who are on campus should be getting these protections because Title IX is for federally funded public universities and colleges and institutions. Okay? I don't see why that's a big deal. Anyway, so you're already seeing USA Today's kind of spin on it, but look at this next part. Why does this change matter? Well, critics argue, USA Today argues, the left argues, that the Trump-era rules prevented people accused of sexual harassment, assault, or discrimination from facing repercussions. Supporters contended the rules rightly strengthened the due process protections for accused students or faculty members. And that's exactly right, okay? Okay, the person accused is innocent before proven guilty, okay? And a lot of times, public opinion ends up winning in the courtroom, even when the person is innocent. And sadly, this Title IX change for Biden is going to make that probably a reality. But that's not even the least of my concerns in the slight bit, which we're going to get into in a second. Let's move down here. They're still talking about the sexual assault, but let's actually read this one. The new rules expand the definition of sexual assault and harassment. That means schools could investigate more cases of discrimination, abuse, or harassment filed by people on school campuses under the scope of the law. College student survivors will no longer be required to attend live hearings or go through cross-examinations, and people will be given the right to, quote, prompt and equitable grievance procedures, the rule reads. This sounds like a bunch of babble, but anyway, basically, long story short, the accuser is going to have more rights than the accused in this situation, which is the opposite of how the law is supposed to work. The accused is supposed to have more rights than the accuser until proven guilty. I feel like that's just common sense. But Joe Biden doesn't have a lot of that nowadays. So anyway, this is where I am going to start melting because this is where the real issue lies with the women, okay? And what is a woman and the protections of a woman, whether it's in the bathroom, whether it's in sports, whether it's in a locker room, whether it's in her own private space, okay? A woman doesn't have protections under Biden's new Title IX rules, okay? This is the real issue. Again, the sexual assault stuff is a big deal on its own, right? The SA, the victims, and the rights given to both the victim and whatever, that is its own issue. But this is the issue under Title IX is this new Title IX rule. It undoes everything that it's supposed to do. Title IX originally was supposed to protect really mainly women, and now it doesn't at all. Let's read this. LGBTQ plus students will be guaranteed protection under the law if they are discriminated against for their gender identity or sexual orientation. On the surface, my friends, this doesn't seem too bad. I don't believe that you should be discriminated based on whatever, whether or not you're gay or lesbian. But you guys are probably already seeing the implications of this based on my summary earlier. Pregnant and parenting students, look at this. Look at how they word this, first of all. Pregnant and parenting students. Come on, y'all. Who's pregnant? Women. Who might receive unwanted sexual attention, shame, or punishment at schools will also be granted more protections from sex discrimination in the admissions process on campus. I wouldn't have an issue with this if it specifically said pregnant women and parents who are students, parents could be fathers as well, who might receive unwanted sexual attention, shame, or punishment at schools will be granted more protections from sex discrimination. Title IX actually already does a great job of this. There's a lot of Title IX there's a lot of times Title IX is used on campuses to grant pregnant women who are students on campus more rights. For example, pregnant student parking spots or pregnant student dormitories, right, that are closer walk to campus and that have better accommodations for that pregnant student, okay? Those are good things. But this is not at all what Biden's, do not be deceived, my friends. This is not what Biden's angle is on this, okay? So anyway, so here it is. So here's who's affected by this change, according to USA Today. Sexual assault survivors, not true. Okay, sexual assault, the accused is affected here because survivors have enough rights as it is. Okay, if you get essayed, my friend, you have everything going for you. You have public opinion. Okay, honestly. If you get, again, I don't claim to know the trauma about this, okay? But right after it happens, don't wait years later, bro. Don't wait 20 years later to report on it, okay? Do it within at least, the month. Come on. I get it. Like, I get the trauma, but if you want justice to be done, you got to do what you got to do, okay? Anyway, hot take, but I don't think that's a hot take, actually. I think it's just common sense. LGBT students are protected, whatever. And then pregnant and parenting students are protected as well. Now, USA Today claims that the ruling, I'm reading it, ruling on transgender student participation in sports remains unsettled. Friends, they're about to contradict themselves in their own statement because look at what the Biden administration just released, according to their own article. The Biden administration is literally just admitting their goal with all this, and I don't have to say it. I don't have to be accused of being a conspiracy theorist. This is what the Biden administration said they're going to do. The administration released a proposed rule in April 2023 that said that schools and colleges largely could not ban non-binary and transgender students from sports teams in the new Title IX rules. They just admitted a year ago, my friends, April 2023. The Biden administration just admitted a year ago that the new Title IX changes, the whole purpose of them is so that schools cannot ban non-binary and transgender students from sports teams. Okay? So this rule, this quote, this opinion, I would say, from USA Today saying ruling on transgender student participation in sports remains unsettled is either a lie or just straight up misrepresentation of, first of all, the new Title IX changes, but also the position of the administration that made these changes. Their entire goal is to get Joseph, Joe, Bob, Dylan on your daughter's sports team. That's exactly what they're trying to do. And it's weird and it's sad. So anyway, that's from USA Today. And if you if you just ask yourselves, how did we get here? Let me tell you how we got here, okay? Let me close my laptop for this. Okay. We got here based off, first of all, a weak church that doesn't stand up for anything anymore. We're too afraid to speak out. Weak parents who aren't protecting their children. Weak school administrators who don't really care about their students anyway. They only care about getting more funding for their schools, making their numbers look better. And fun and fuming their textbooks with DEI and gayness. We literally, I think last episode or maybe the episode before that, we talked about how they're putting in what's that book called? I think All Boys Aren't Blue and gender queer and all this stuff in schools. That's what they're focused on. And then we have weak Republicans and weak conservatives who don't necessarily care about protecting the rights of these women. Okay. They'll use don't get me wrong. A lot of you guys support these politicians. They'll say on stage or wherever they are, or they'll say on their social media that we're standing up against. No, my friends, they need stuff to run on. Okay, they're not actually providing solutions for this stuff. Okay, they're wasting your time. They're wasting your money. They're wasting our tax dollars. Really. So anyway, that's why all this stuff is happening. So you guys can get mad at Biden. We can get mad at the mainstream media. We can point the fingers at the left and say, oh, they're terrible, they're demons, they're, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now what are you going to do about it? Because we expect them to suck, okay? We expect them to suck. We don't vote for them for a reason. But why do we vote for these people that, like, again, some Republicans are supporting this stuff, my friends. Not only that, and it's not just this issue, but it's also the life issue. We're all compromising on everything, not just that, but also look at abortion. Okay, Carrie Lake out of Arizona, those weak Arizonians are compromising for abortion in Arizona for votes. It's exactly what the Democrats are doing. They're compromising on women's rights for votes. Okay, the Republicans are compromising on everything. Okay, we talked about this in so many episodes, but what good is it voting Republican anymore? You'll say, Jaden, well, the Biden administration is worse than any other administration. It's the lesser of two evils, Jaden. Bro, it's the same outcome, okay? Instead of just pulling the trigger, we're slowly cutting the wound open, okay? We're slowly cutting it open, and we're just slowly progressing instead of just fastly. I'd rather progress. Like, I'd rather be insanely progressive in the span of 1 year so that we can just see how terrible it is and go straight back than just slowly progress and things not seem as bad as they really are, because you don't see the drastic change. You just see the little changes over time, and they normalize things for you, okay? That's what happened with the gay stuff, okay? So anyway, that's my rant. And again, my friends, if you do not want to support this stuff, then you need to put your money where your mouth is, which is, guys, again, go to patriotmobile.com/Heard. Use code Heard for a free activation. Don't fund the left. Stop going to Target. Stop going to Starbucks. Stop going to companies that hate you, and start supporting companies that love your values. I think I talked about this on a past episode, but Public Square. Check out Public Square. I think it's Public Square. Is it Public Square? I think it's Public Square. Public Square, I think. If I'm wrong, I'll put it right here if I'm wrong, the actual one. But anyway, they have like a whole app where you can look up conservative alternatives for everything, okay? Literally everything you can think of. Conservative Christian coffee companies. A lot of you women, you moms, like health and wellness and oils or whatever. There's so many conservative and healthy options for you that aren't from hippie leftists, okay? I'm telling you, I promise, okay? Even though the best coffee does come from blue-haired feminists, okay? I am not gonna lie. But my friends, you can compromise on that. Okay, if you're gonna compromise on some things, you can compromise on that, okay? So anyway, you said what? Black Rifle Coffee Company? I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It's better than Starbucks, but hang on, they're better than Starbucks. But first of all, Black Rifle Coffee, didn't they like pander on Black Lives Matter, I think, or something like that?
No, one of the
original owners. Okay, so one of the original owners. Okay. Okay, so I can still support Black Rifle. I've also heard that Black Rifle Coffee Company is not that good. You're mainly just paying for the. I've heard like way better conservative coffee companies. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Okay. I agree. I would rather you give your money to Black Rifle Company than. Yeah, you love Dunkin'. We talked about this on a past episode. You like Dunkin' too? I like Dunkin' as well. We talked about this on the past episode. We were talking about how the Chick-fil-A went kind of woke, and how we should eat Raisin Canes now. That's what Morgan was eating, and yeah. By the way, Micah, you're a real person. I'm speaking to you right now. You know, there's comments on my YouTube. I'm putting this out. I'm putting this out for record. Micah's here.
Do I need to get on camera?
You don't have to. You can if you want.
It's up to you.
Yeah, come on. Come on. So there's a conspiracy theory that Jaden is talking to no one.
He's not.
It's a real person. There's Tyler. Tyler's in there doing his own thing. So that's two people. Okay. So there's a conspiracy out on YouTube that you're not real. That I'm the only one here. And when I say pause it, I'm talking to no one. That I'm pausing it and going back and editing it. Okay. I just want to get that out there. Most people will have common sense and like, okay, this guy's not crazy. I'm not schizophrenic. And why? And first of all, why would someone do that? Why would someone pretend that they're talking to their producer? Like, if I had this nice setup, I want to pretend that I did this. I would pretend that, oh, look at me, I'm that guy.
Maybe pretend like they're bigger than they actually are.
Yeah, I'm not. But like, if you have, you can have like your buddy, your mom could be in the studio for all you know, and you can be talking to her. Like, having someone in the studio doesn't make you a big deal. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to waste y'all's time with this. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. We have this great video. Stay tuned. We're gonna be talking about these weirdo people. What was it? What was the late? Okay, yeah, we'll find out in a second, I guess.